Arguably the most iconic 1970s star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame is Mr. Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds was born in Lansing, Michigan. Now, he got a scholarship to Florida State University on football, but unfortunately he injured himself and didn't know what to do with the rest of his life. His English professor, Watson Duncan, encouraged him to be an actor, and Mr. Reynolds credits him with his career. Now, Mr. Reynolds moved to New York City. Joanne Woodward helped him get an agent there. Joanne Woodward, by the way, is one of the original 8 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He did a few small shows, but then he got in a production of Mr. Roberts, starring Charlton Heston, and that was directed by John Forsythe. After that, he did bit parts in television and film. One of his most notable was an episode of The Twilight Zone. Fun fact, Albert R. Broccoli approached him to play James Bond, and Burt Reynolds famously said, "An American can't play James Bond, it just can't be done." But his big breakout role was in the film Deliverance. Now, that was 1972, and shortly after that film came out, he did a racy spread in Cosmopolitan. Ooh, nice. Now, Burt Reynolds claimed that that racy spread might have really hampered their Academy nominations that year. Now, after that film, he was in a slew of big hits. 1974, he was in the film The Longest Yard. It was a football film, and he played a football coach, very apt. 1976 was Gator, played a moonshine runner in the Okefenokee Swamp. And 1977 was Smokey and the Bandit. Now, that was the second biggest grossing film of that year, second only to Star Wars. Fun fact, Nick Nolte and Burt Reynolds both were approached to play the part of Han Solo, and clearly they both turned it down. Speaking of Smokey and the Bandit and Sally Field, let's talk about Burt Reynolds' love life. First, he was married to Judy Carn, the sock it to me girl from Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. During the 80s, he was married to Lonnie Anderson, star of WKRP in Cincinnati. But in between that, he dated both Sally Field and Dinah Shore. In the 80s, the film roles started dwindling. He did do one big hit in 1982 with Dolly Parton in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. But he made a nice comeback in 1990 through 1994 on the small screen in the TV series Evening Shade, where he played Wood Newton, an ex-Pittsburgh Steelers football player who turned coach in a small Texas town. That even won him an Emmy on TV. In 1997, he did a great supporting role in the film Boogie Nights, where he played a porn director in the 1970s. That picture earned him a Best Supporting Academy nomination. This is Todd Pickering for Walk of Fame Wednesdays. I will see you next week in Hollywood.